These two players have been going up against each other over and over and over again over the last couple of weeks, and I'm here for it. In the majority of the series, it is none other than the man right over here in the top right-hand corner who's been dominating his opponent. We're looking at MaxPax's main Nexus, however, our Zerg here. He's known as the greatest StarCraft player of all time. His username is Serral. Now, this particular game is actually from a best of 5 series, but I heard that the game in particular on Amygdala is amazing. So we're gonna find out together exactly what ended up going down in this particular match. I've been casting pretty much only best of 3s, best of 5s, best of 7s, even a best of 9 for like the entirety of 2025 so far. I figured we'll just do the very best game. I've actually had some people, especially on YouTube, ask whether or not I could cast, you know, maybe a game that would be a little bit shorter. I don't really know exactly how long this game is, but at the very least, if I'm casting a singular match, maybe the video won't be just straight up an hour long, because a lot of games lately have been north of like an hour, sometimes even north of 2. It's a bit much. I've actually seen a very significant uptick in YouTube views as of late. I posted about it as well on Twitter. Interestingly enough, in December, so to put this in perspective, I find this very curious. In December, my YouTube channel had about 2.3 million views. 2.2, 2.3, something along those lines, which is amazing. That's a lot of people that watch StarCraft 2. Thank you very much. In early January, I wanted to do some experimentation, so I've changed a couple of things. I have been... Is that my cat? One sec. I suddenly heard the little kitty cry. Yeah. Sorry, man. Can I put you... Okay, I'll put you over here. Yeah, just take a little nap. Okay, he's decided to settle behind my monitor. Oh, no, never mind. We're... Okay. You want to chill on my lap? That works for me, buddy. Nice communication skills, by the way. Yeah, really nice. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, I've changed a couple of things. So, in early January, I decided to become an absolute Gen Alpha superstar. I decided to start uploading YouTube Shorts a lot more frequently. I've also been live streaming on YouTube, which seemingly also seems to be quite fun. At least a lot of you seem to be enjoying it quite a lot. I have been streaming on Twitch for many, many years. Actually, like 12 years or something along those lines, pretty much every single day. And lately, I've been doing some multi-streaming as well on YouTube, which really doesn't require any additional effort on my end. But it seems like a lot of people have been liking that quite a bit. And in December, we had about 2.2, 2.3 million total views. In January, there were about 3.6. That is the biggest... Are you gonna purr in my microphone, buddy? That is the biggest increase I have ever seen in a single month. Like, I've been making videos since 2008. I've been uploading regular YouTube content since literally 2008. I don't know if this is sustainable and whether or not February is gonna look similar. March, I have no idea what the future of StarCraft is gonna be like either, but thank you very much for watching. It has been an absolute blast, and I'm gonna try and keep it going. Anyways, we've had ourselves a very normal opener, by the way. Nice creep tumor snipe here. Nothing out of the ordinary. Toby keeps moving my microphone. Toby, come on. Come on. Okay. Well, casting a game of StarCraft with a cat in your lap. Not the easiest thing to do, but I think we... Oh, he's left. Dude, he's recently been behaving like a kitten again. Toby is like almost 4 years old. Like, why? It's okay. He's got a lot of energy. Maybe he's feeling the springtime already. It's a little early, but... Oracle trying to get some damage in. So far, though, this is what happens when you play against Serral. The best you can really hope for is a single creep tumor snipe, since it wasn't actually a finished structure or a finished creep tumor. It doesn't show up in the units lost. Wanted to snatch one drone, does not quite get it. Second Oracle trying to come in from the other side, and this one is going to be more successful, I believe. 2 drones? Okay. Oracle number 1 going back in. Okay. Here's the good old blink. Together with the +1. I mean, it should be blink and +1. Every single time MaxPax builds the structures right next to each other, it's blink. Every single time he splits them up or he skips or delays the forge, it is Glaive to Depths or Charge. This is my working theory, but once more, it seems to be correct. If you're a Zerg pro gamer and you watch this, I'm telling you, man, if he splits up the Twilight Council and the Forge and he builds them separate from one another, he's going for some sort of shenanigans. When you scout them like this, just know everything's good. You can just continue playing your normal game of Zerg. No worries, no need to be scared. There will be Blink Stalker, but at least they won't be hitting you in the face anytime soon, yet. Well, Serral not really too concerned anyways. He's gonna try and see maybe if he can scout this in a moment. Not 100% certain if he really needs to here. He's just trying to drone up. We may very well see a +1 melee. I've noticed Serral actually enjoying the +1 melee build a lot more as of late, although this Evo chamber is relatively late. So usually that's an indicator that he wants to go for missile. Could go for both. Hydra Dendo, already here. Yeah, he's decided to go into the missile upgrade instead. Hydra Dendo already coming up. Roach Speed is also an option here for the Zerg, but instead he is likely just going to use that Roach Warren as a way to be at least reasonably stable if he needs to, and just focus all of his income on Hydralisk production instead. Oh. What? Okay. You could have continued shooting at it, but apparently we're not going to go ahead and do so. Infestation Pit here instead of Roach Speed. Let's see. So, the idea here for Max is to put on so much pressure that this hatchery is going to die. That's the idea, that's the plan. Serral trying to see if he can potentially delay this attack by the best of his abilities. Serral, by the way, did get checked there. MaxPax clicked on one of the Zerglings. He was trying to see if +1 melee would be done. Since there is no +1 melee, Blink Stalker generally more effective. And this hatchery is in a world of trouble. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stasis wards. Even if the hatchery lives for now, there's going to be more attacks in this direction. And I feel like, yeah, I almost wonder if the heal over here from the Queens is a bit of a waste. Maybe he can keep it around, though. Okay, well, the Hydras deal way more damage, obviously, than Roaches in these scenarios. And it looks like Serral is going to be able to push this away for now. Bunch of the Zerglings do get caught in the stasis trap. Hive coming up. He really would like to go for a lurker den here, but in order to go lurkers, you need to have 8 gas. You can't really be playing lurkers off of any less than that. Really nice detonations there, though, on those stasis traps. So trying his very best to gain as much value out of that as possible. If Max can somehow, some way secure the kill here on that hatch, it would be big. Because it would slow down Serral a ton. He doesn't have a backup hatchery yet. Once more, though, he's detonating those traps with relative ease. 4th Nexus in the meantime up north. This little Zergling run by is actually really nice. Because it's going to force MaxPax to warp in a bunch of units up here too. And that means he's not warping in Stalkers to continue the aggression. Just 4 Hydras and about 4 Zerglings. Well, now there's a whole lot more Lings. He wants to see if he can secure the kill on this. Another stasis trap is going to detonate and slow down the Zerg advancement on that side, but I believe that this Nexus is indeed going to get cancelled. Good on MaxPax for cancelling it, because it's quite common actually for pros to forget it. But Serral holds, and he keeps that base intact. He's now going lurkers. He's actually going +1 melee at this point too, which is quite curious. I guess lurker damage is so high anyway that it doesn't really matter whether or not you have a whole lot of upgrades on them. But usually if we see melee upgrades now, yeah, usually Zerg, maybe he just didn't want to spend the extra 50 gas and minerals on getting the +2 started. Anyways, Adrenal Gland's coming up. Serral will be trying to just counter this to the best of his abilities. Lurkers are going to be hitting the battlefield soon. And in order to counter it, MaxPax, he hasn't seen it, but he knows where this is going to come from. He has decided to go into a quick fleet beacon himself too. Now he's got Storm. Size Storm, obviously, against Ling Hydra is phenomenal. That hatchery is still not fully recovered, obviously. Only at like about 1/4 of its HP. Lurkers are absolute necessities here. Keep in mind, though, that Revelation from the Oracle can still be used. Oh, gets one of them. Nice snipe. Great snipe. Yeah, this is where you kind of wished you went for a triple Oracle instead, because he doesn't have He doesn't have enough energy. I think it's about time to give up on this line of attack. Especially now with an additional 6 lurkers finishing. Not much that can really be done, although it looks like the zealots on the bottom left corner of the bases, they have achieved a kill on a hatchery that was building. Hydras are going to be able to snipe this all eventually, but that is still not a bad start. And here's the Tempest coming up. Now, there is an opportunity here for the Zerg to be aggressive too, especially when this upgrade finishes up. He's already got seismic spines, so he already has the lurker ranged upgrade. There's a big vulnerability right before Protoss goes into that late game army, right before they really get their Skytles going, where Zerg can deal damage. Serral, though, has decided to not really give that a try. This is a pretty quick mothership, so we don't have the additional Stargates until just now. We don't have like a +1 flyer upgrade coming up here for Protoss yet either. So MaxPax trying to smoothen out that transition a little bit, rather than building all of it in one go. He's doing it a little bit at a time. Nice stasis works, man. Yeah. Honestly, really well done here so far by Max. Losing that 4th Nexus up north, by far the most painful thing in this game for him so far. Everything else has been pretty smooth. He rebuilt the Nexus instead over here. And he may very well be aiming for this expansion up north in a little bit. Serral checking for it. Doesn't see too much. Now when there's smoke, there's fire. He decides to go into the Spire. Whoa, accidental rep god? Anyways, he decides to go into the Spire now. Corruptors are going to be a necessity here before too long. Mostly just denying this expansion. There's Mama. Mama's looking big and powerful. There is detection in the form of an Overseer, but that's the only detector here. Okay, MaxPax decides to split his troops up. We have a Skytles army and a Groundtools army. Serral actually wants to go in? Really, Serral? Well, it's mostly a distraction to hope that this army over here can be a little bit more successful, and those lurkers are really maximizing a ton of damage. Good movement here by the finisher. He pretended to overcommit up north to then, well, swipe away at some of those units down south. Nanomuscular swell coming up for the Hydras. Tempest production, though, is underway. Serral decides to go straight Greater Spire. Okay. Don't know how I feel about that. Every time I see a Zerg player making an Ultra Cavern or, I don't know, a Greater Spire or really any of the proper tier 3 units for Zerg, I immediately get a little hesitant. Then again, I don't want to be doubting Serral. Overseer, yeah, is going to provide detection for now. Max is going to be able to push away this army, kill the Overseer. That means that we do need to see more detection. Oh, Serral's actually just going to go full defense. That's the plan. So he's already building up Spore Crawlers, meaning that he is going to be sitting on the bases that he's got right now and maybe sneak out another expansion eventually, but this is actually not quite a... I find this quite early to start turtling. I guess he's got this expansion over here too that's sort of caught in between his bases. But this expansion is very attackable, especially by like Tempest and Motherships and all that from the back. To be turtling up on 5 bases seems really early to me. Vipers trying to see if they can potentially snipe some of the units. Abduct them. Yep, yoink. 2 yoinks. Okay, he gets one of them a second time over. That was actually still quite painful there for the Zerg player. Gets 1 Tempest in the end, but that was not quite what he was hoping for. Mothership in the meantime up north. There is detection in the form of the Spore Crawlers too. And I don't think you can push in here. I don't actually think this is a full turtle up yet for Serral. I don't think he's planning on turtling. He's mostly just trying to keep this alive to prevent attacks like the one that we just saw. Yeah, you can sort of defend this with just Spore Crawlers and Lurkers, I guess. Very little creep spread, though. In every single game I've seen Serral play as of late, his focus has not been on creep. Historically, he's always been gooping up the entire map as quickly as possible. Not really the main focus anymore. He's only got 5 queens here, so I guess that's one of the reasons. I wonder if he should add on maybe a couple more. I guess there's enough things to already be managed at this point in time, but I am missing a bit of that creep spread, because how in the world is he ever going to take another expansion now? MaxPax has got free reign of the map. Yeah, Serral's kind of posturing out here, but I don't believe he can really commit much. There's so many Tempests now. 9 Tempests is certainly enough to one-shot everything. I think it's 5 Tempests to one-shot a Brute Lord, if I'm not... Oh, God. Oh, God. He's going Greater Spire and Ultra Cavern? If somebody could please time travel to Finland and stop the man. Maybe there's a time and place for Ultras. Brute Lord Ultra is truly one of the compositions of all time, though. I mean, they're slowly starting to make their way back into the meta. It's just that I don't really enjoy seeing them very much. Actually, really quite good positioning here. I'm surprised with how effective just like 5 or so Spore Crawlers truly is. I don't think it needs to be this. Yeah, I feel like MaxPax is maybe overvaluing it a little bit, because he's got so many of those Tempests. It should be easy for him to just one-shot everything. Tempest upgrade coming up as well. Tectonic Destabilizers. It doubles the damage that Tempest deal to structures. And Tempest in combination with the Oracle's Revelation is amazing. This is another one of those lines of attack, though, that is extremely difficult for the Zerg to defend. I think the hatchery itself should just get poked at. Fungal? Okay. Nice fungal, I suppose, but what's it gonna do? I think you should kill the base. MaxPax is actually playing extremely cautiously. I wonder if it's a bit too much. I don't think he needs to be this cautious. He could certainly kill the Spore Crawlers over here. He could certainly kill the hatchery here in the middle. He doesn't really know exactly how many infestors there are and whether there's neural parasites and all the rest of it. Yeah. He's a little awkward here with his late game unit control. It's probably because of the fact that he's been burned one too many times, though. The timings are obviously quite out of whack. Serral could have everything done at this point, and he does in fact have that neural parasite. Decides to recall the army down south. Mostly just splitting up his troops again. Keep in mind that the Mama ship also, of course, has that recall ability. It's currently on cooldown, but it can be used to very quickly transport these troops around the map. Serral's decided to go into 9 Brute Lords right now. He's going Kindness Plating, +1 Flyer Armor, +1 Armor for the ground, additional Spore Crawlers. I think the plan is to sit. Maybe do some fishing. Fishing with Vipers, that is. One of the great Finnish pastimes. Sauna, swimming in the ice lake, fishing with Vipers. He's looking for a fungal. He's looking for a fungal. Gets a fungal. Not an amazing one, though. MaxPax actually decides to just get on out of here. Decides to recall towards Mama. Did he really have to? I feel like we can fight this. Am I crazy? I feel like this army for Zerg is just going to melt. Without the lurkers? Yeah, the Archons can just sort of walk through everything and kill everything. Okay, we should really kill the hatch, though. Now the hatchery does fall. I think Max is just playing this as safely as possible. This is very much so that Serral aura. Everybody always kind of plays like this against Serral, it seems. Every Protoss except for Hero. Hero doesn't really seem to care. MaxPax trying his best to not die, which is not a great winning strategy, and he's gonna get cornered here. Serral is actually on the hunt right now for a great opportunity, and this may just be the one that he's been looking for this entire time. Good splitty over here on the Corruptors. A lot of the damage gets mitigated because he spreads out those units. MaxPax, though, doesn't really lose that many troops, and he keeps the Nexus around in the bottom right-hand corner, too. Serral actually did lose quite a few supply points there. Yeah. That was actually... It looked like a great fight for Serral, but that was much better for MaxPax. Serral moving into the Corruptors now. Infestors coming up. 1 Viper. Maybe a second Spire at this phase in the game would not be a luxury. MaxPax now feeling like he can maybe deal some damage over here. Needs to be careful, obviously, because the recall will be on cooldown here. So is reinforcing Corruptor showing up. Not enough storms anymore. That was the last of the storms. There are some Archons underneath. He's trying to back up to the safety now of the static defense. Desperation Stalker warp in. Not quite ideal. Mama is gonna go down. That was an overextension by Max. He thought he had additional storms. Not quite. Still though, Max has got way more economy, right? He's got a lot of money. And he still has a bank. He will continue building a Mama ship immediately. +3 is going to finish up too. I wouldn't mind the second Cybercore like 5 minutes ago. I think that'd be good. Much like the second Spire. Either way, he can very rapidly remax, and Serral doesn't have that much cash. If the banks were even at this point, I would like it way better for Zerg. But not quite the case. I think Serral needs to get some sort of damage done, and that's exactly what he's trying to do right now. He knows that the mothership is taking about 7 years to build. They need to construct it, and then they need to do like the whole thing with like the wine bottle and stuff, where they smack the wine bottle against the side of the mothership. I don't really know how the rituals go, but it takes a long time. Fight over here up north, a little bit better. Still though, Max is looking for an expansion over here that he can potentially kill. Drones run away. They'll return to mining once again. The Brute Lords. Somehow Serral's actually kind of doing this. How is he even maneuvering his way through all of this? I'm kind of expecting for one of those fights to just go horribly wrong, because we have seen that quite a lot lately. But Serral's just been looking so... Like, the way he's maneuvering his army around the map looks so incredibly confident. Let's see. I'm a little afraid that we're gonna see that entire Zerg army just awkwardly get caught, but it looks like he's backing up once again. Yeah, Serral's gameplay is oozing confidence. MaxPax is a little bit more awkward, you know? Like, MaxPax is on like his very first date, and he's kind of like, you know, he read a Reddit thread once upon a time about how to like talk to somebody, and he's like, oh, what do you do? And, you know, there's like awkward silences and stuff. Serral's just behaving like an absolute chat as he's maneuvering around this map right now. What do you talk about on a first date? It's weird. Nobody likes first dates. Anyways, Blinky Boy's going in again. You don't really want to have Blink Stalker anymore. Those were the desperation ones that he had to warp in earlier. In the meantime, though, there's an army over here in the bottom right, too. Don't say anything stupid. Don't say anything stupid, MaxPax. Don't say anything stupid. Okay, he didn't say anything stupid. He gets the hatch, gets on out of there. Serral, in the meantime, is thinking, yo, that hatchery on the other side of the map is quite vulnerable. What about your Nexus? Not that many probes remaining in this area anyways. Corruptor's under a bit of threat. Tempest now having that weird luxury position where they can shoot away further than they can actually see. So that's where the Oracle comes in. +3 air attacks coming up. Serral once more, by the way, fully upgrading Ultras. We've seen him do this now in like 5 games. He fully upgrades Ultras, and then he makes none. It's kind of like a flex. Serral's got like 3 watches, but he doesn't wear any of them. Yeah, they're made out of pure gold, but he's not planning on actually using them for anything. The Ultralisks live in the safe. And that's worth something too, you know? Hatchery in the far top left will be what Serral's got his eyes set on next. Yeah, Serral doesn't need a watch. He can just feel it. Oh my god, this looks like that. I'm actually gonna back up a little bit. I don't want to miss this entire setup. This looks like that fight that Serral had against Hero in a previous series. That entire Protoss army is so balled up. It's one giant control group, and Serral is trying to see if he can collapse on top of this from every single angle, and this is exactly what the Zerg player is looking for. He swoops in, gets the fungals, gets the parabombs. This is the wombo combo of a century. Tempest tried to teleport away, but that was exceptionally expensive. Time and time again, man. Serral just sets up those engagements. I mean, that wasn't quite perfect for him, because he still took a bit more damage than he would have liked. But it's that entire Protoss army just kind of condensing into, like, you know, they may not have Vortex anymore on the mothership, but the entire Protoss army sometimes, yeah, it moves around like it does, because it's kind of just, you know, a black hole in the middle, and everything just looks like it wants to sit on top of each other's shoulders. It just looks so clumsy. And you pay the price very quickly. Fungal growth, parasitic bomb, corruptors coming in from every side. Maybe MaxPax misses the Vortex days. But you need to make sure that you keep your Protoss army split up. You cannot be waiting. Serral's patience is actually kind of ridiculous. It is so easy, and this is now a 25-minute game. It's very easy for just like a moment, right? Pro gamers are humans after all, at least the majority of them. I think. It's very easy for your focus to just lapse for a split second. Actually, back when Vortex was removed, I think that must have been like 2011 or so, MaxPax was like 5. Maybe he doesn't know about Vortex. I had a conversation with a Protoss player once upon a time at a Home Story Cup. A Protoss player who was competing in the tournament. And he asked me, Loko, what's the mothership core? I felt very old. I will not say who it, but they asked what the mothership core was. They were not familiar, like a Protoss pro, not familiar with. I guess they will definitely not be aware of the Vortex ability that once upon a time existed on the mothership. Either way, my very, very, very long drawn out point is that you need to keep your army split up. Zerg deals a stupid amount of splash damage very quickly. Parasitic Bomb just deals so much damage, and when you get fungal, you just can't move apart. You need to keep that army pre-split. Much like what Terran players do against Zerg, Protoss also needs to be doing very similar things. Because if you clump up together, you are likely to get fungled. Now, Serral needs another engagement exactly like that one, though, because even though that was about the perfect fight, he's still not having a cost-efficient trade, and Protoss does have more than 50% of the map. As a matter of fact, MaxPax right now has 50% of the map plus 1 expansion. I mean, it gets cancelled, but still. MaxPax has got 50% of the map and Serral has like, what, 40-something%. I don't want to do math. He's now going into the carrier. Another hatchery will be coming up. Serral's gonna have a super hard time securing this base. MaxPax is actually fine not having this expansion. He just wants to make sure that Zerg does not have it. Now, this entire build plan, though, from Serral, ultimately dials down to him trying to secure 50% of the map. And historically, that's a losing strat. Zerg always needed like 50 to 60% bare minimum. So for Serral to be okay, and like signing off on only 50% of the resources, has me a little bit concerned. But maybe he can get some more efficient traits. Another misrallied carrier. Actually, that was the first carrier going down, I think. But anyways, another misrallied Skytles unit. Nexus in the middle of the map goes down. MaxPax not having any luck with that one. He's once more got his army split up. Obviously, this is the most likely opportunity where Zerg can strike, because Protoss is not able to really join up that rapidly. It's what MaxPax feels like he needs to do, because he's got the faster, more agile unit composition at this stage in the game. If he can take one of those, well, bases out right now for the Zerg, that would be massive. Although, I do think it's important to stop attacking over here. There's nothing to be gained. There's very little going on in this section of the map. Why would you be fighting here? Neural Parasites go down. Serral decides, yo, I can't fight your army properly. Let me just take a couple of your units and turn them to my side. Neural Parasites dealing damage, but so are those Corruptors. Not enough Storms, I guess, to... I think there's enough energy to do another... On top of all of that Zerg Flyer army. I mean, I don't really love it. We once more have Desperation Blink Stalkers coming in. They're going to try and see if they can poke those Brute Lords one at a time, but that's where the Lurkers kick in once more. Now the other half of the Protoss army has joined up. We do have the Time Warp thrown down. Corruptors trying to avoid splash damage to the best of their abilities, but they do snipe another carrier on their way out. Very close fight. Very close fight. Ultimately, though, that was definitely an advantage there for Zerg. He's going to be able to remax quicker. MaxPax's bank is still bigger than that of the Zerg, but it's going to take him a while to really rebuild it. Man, I think Serral is once more looking extremely good. When the new patch first went live, he looked a little bit lost. He didn't really look like the way that he normally struts around the map, you know? And he's doing that once again right now. just looking extremely dominant. Sniped another big Protoss unit. The rest of the Protoss army is currently down south. That was the Mama ship, by the way. That was the Mothership 3.0. We now get to the 4th Mama. The stepmother, I guess. She's not a replacement, but she is. Revelation here is nice. MaxPax constantly on the retreat, though. Yeah, I think there's still a lot of refinement possible in this late-game Protoss player. MaxPax's early and mid-game are absolutely phenomenal. But I think, in a weird way, he's almost, like, used to winning by now. In the vast majority of the encounters he will have, he just wins before this point. You don't get a lot of practice games with Serral. He's not gonna be wanting to practice that frequently against his main competitors. He doesn't really benefit from it as much as you do, so why would he bother? You can kind of feel like there's this weird cautiousness in MaxPax's playstyle. Like, even when he has the better army, he's not really behaving like he does. Serral, though, still with a smaller bank. Again, he really needs that hatch in the top left-hand corner. This base is critical, because he doesn't have much income anymore. Over the last 10 minutes, Protoss has been out-mining him tremendously. Keep in mind that this gold base was denied a lot of times, so Max actually still has a mineral line over here, too. Serral effectively just stopped making drones here and stopped making economy and tried to build a full bulldozer army. And while he's nearly there, MaxPax's army is still plenty strong enough. Serral's army supply is huge, though. Absolutely massive. He's trying to see if he can potentially distract this Protoss player, too. I wonder if it's time for MaxPax to put all of his units in one big ball. He needs to deny his base. I think he really needs to go in. But he cannot really be fighting the Zerg army with only about half of his units. And once more, we get an engagement similar to the one that we had just now. The rest of the Protoss army is caught in the bottom right. Fungal growths, neural parasites. We have the corruptors targeting down whatever they can. Storms have now run out too. MaxPax trying to back up to the safety of the shield battery, but the Brute Lords are chasing down as much as they can, getting a lot of his army stuck. Corruptors, or sorry, lurkers in the meantime, hiding behind that gold mineral line too. Here's the mothership together with a bunch of stalkers doing nothing. Like, this part of the map is irrelevant. There's no mining going on here. There were a couple spores that moved away. There was nothing here of value to be gained. Serral will gladly take your entire army if you're gonna, yeah, kill a couple hatches that I guess have some larva production. But that was not really much of value to be gained right there for MaxPax. And he pays the price. Serral actually grabs the supply advantage. Still though, despite all of that, he doesn't have much money anymore. I guess this base in the top left. Yeah, this base in the top left is so important. MaxPax is thinking about ignoring it and just pushing straight through the center. I don't mind that at all. I think we needed some sort of win condition. Hey, Toby. Toby's back. No, you don't have to rub your face into my microphone, dude. Come on, sit in my lap. Alright. MaxPax needs to make a decision here soon. We have Microbial Shroud coming up. Serral trying to buy time. That's the ability that takes... Well, it makes it so that the ground units take 50% damage from flying troops. It's technically very good, especially when there aren't a whole lot of storms anymore. And we have... How many Stormy Boys do we have? 6 of them. They're trailing behind a bit. I was going to say, I don't see any with this army right now. MaxPax has caught a bunch of lurkers. Very close game still. Very close game. Okay. The lurkers wake up. One of them goes down. Max trying to remax. Remax-pax. A couple of stasis wards being set up. I don't mind it. Can we get some feedback? Some storms? Not quite the case. Stasis wards get triggered by Brute Lords. By the way, still not a single Ultralisk has been made. This is that moment in the game where you kind of wish you didn't make Ultras. Like, not the Ultralisk ever, not the Ultralisk upgrades. Completely pointless. Yeah, so this is basically what MaxPax was trying to do. So what the Zerglings are doing right now is like 5 supply of Zerg, right? That's effectively what that entire Mothership Stalker ball did in the bottom of the map. So you do kind of want to kill some of those, yeah, those outside expansions. You do kind of want to make sure that there's not too much vision out on the map. But to dedicate, like, what was that? Like 40, maybe 30 supply worth of your army to killing 2 useless hatcheries is way too much. A handful of Zerglings are doing a very similar task now. And this is when Serral decides to sit back. Now, again, this base over here is a critical one. MaxPax still has some good mining going on here for the next couple minutes. Serral has probably got about another 3-4 minutes more than MaxPax. MaxPax does also still have the base in the far bottom right. Worker-wise, this game is almost identical. It'll probably come down to the main fight. Who can take the better engagement? Time Warp gets thrown down. Feedbacks get used. One of them, or one of the Oracles goes down. And it may have actually been the last one. No, there's one remaining still. Another fungal growth. Very difficult for Protoss to find the correct initiation here. He's balling up his units. That's so dangerous. Does activate the cloaking field again, but we have parabombs going down. The Mothership dealing so much damage. Here comes the rest of the ground army, though. A lot of that supply right now off MaxPax is caught up in Zealots and Stalkers, which is really not what you need at this phase in the game. There's still Tempest remaining, 5 of them in total. Serral's gonna need more Corruptors than just the 9 of them. He's smashing his piggy bank. He can afford 4 more together with a Queen. Oh, MaxPax may actually still be able to do this. MaxPax, in the meantime, has smashed his piggy bank, decided to go into 4 Void Rays, 5 Void Rays even. Feedback over there, another nice fungal though. Corruptor's trying to swoop in, mitigating as much of the splash damage as possible. One more Tempest goes down. He's trying to back up right now to the safety of the shield batteries together with the photon cannons. Bunch of Immortals here on the ground. I guess that's the reason we have an Ultra Cavern. Just to force out a bit of Immortal play at this phase in the game. Speed upgrade coming up as well here for the Void Race. Feels a little bit late. MaxPax is gonna lose his main mining base. Serral, in the meantime, has got that base in the far top left. Nice abduction here again on the Tempest. Void Rays awkwardly swoop in. I don't think there's enough of them, especially not with all of those Queens on the ground, transfusing those Corruptors back to full. What a game by Serral. I don't know how he does it. I feel like his entire game plan was to take better fights than Protoss, right? Which obviously is a nice idea, but in my mind, it shouldn't really be that efficient. Like, when your entire game plan is to take 50% of the map and giving Protoss the rest, generally speaking, Protoss trades significantly more cost efficiently, so you need to take ridiculous fights. There's got to be some Zerg players right now at the pro level that are looking at this too, and they're like, well, we don't know how he does it, but Serral once more has figured out how to play late game, and he once more makes Zerg look overpowered. Ridiculous. GG. Can you guys hear? Can you hear Toby purr, by the way? Yeah, he's been chilling in my lap this entire time.